everyone, I'm Lisa Fronick. I'm the owner of Generate Sales and Marketing, where we make our money selling promo, but we make our mark giving you creative and unique ideas. And let me introduce my counterpart today. This is Tristan Kerwin.
And I'm a creative sales strategist over at Generate Sales and Marketing. And I get to host this mostly weekly production with Lisa and ask her on the spot questions with some dog cameos, which we haven't
Dog
had.
cameos.
Haven't
Mine's on
had
the
in a
chair
couple
behind
episodes.
me. Yeah.
Oh, I love
So
that. I
that's
wish
why I'm
I wish
sitting.
mine could fit, but the giant lab,
Well, it's a big chair.
it's a big chair. It's a big chair.
Yeah.
So today is a special day. It is the fourth episode, fourth filming of our 4-part event marketing series.
So we're wrapping up today.
We're wrapping up. And today we're going to talk about kind of a short and sweet topic, which is post-event evaluation, but then also, well, it's short and sweet, it's also really important. It's the follow-up. So how to further cultivate those leads and things like that. So
the follow-up. This is where most people drop the ball, right? This is
it's true. Where it's like the
yeah.
event happened, now I'm tired, and we're just going to stuff all
Done.
those business cards in, your bag and forget about them. Well, we're not
And
going to
they're
do
gone.
that.
Yeah.
Because we're all better than that. The point was the follow-up, right? Attending the event was to get to this point so that you could follow up and turn the event into sales or whatever it is that you do. So let's start with, okay, I think I want to start with post-event evaluation.
Got it.
So what I mean by that is, what are some things viewers should consider when they're evaluating whether or not attending an event was successful? What are some things that they should consider?
Well, so first of all, look at the overall, how was that event at the end of the day? How was that event marketed by the people who put it on? Did you get the traffic that you were promised? Did you get, the leads that you were promised? You may not need the event to be huge, but if there were half the people that you thought were going to be in attendance, but most of those people were actually really good prospects for you, and you managed to have a good plan and got them to your booth, got to talk to them. Sometimes smaller, more intimate events can be even better than, large crowded events. So how did that work? Was it well marketed? Was it the people that you thought were going to be there? If you're going to speak to adults and you think there's going to be a lot of adults there, and you go and it's nothing but kids running around playing and a bouncy house and, things you didn't plan on. Does this work? Right.
Yep.
But more so than the number of people at the event, it's the quality of the leads that you need to look at. So were those leads there? And to me, this comes in two parts. So it comes in, was the event what it was supposed to be? That's A. And then B, did we do what we needed to do to capture those leads? So it might be, did we follow our plan? And if the answer is yes, we followed our plan, but somehow we fell short on things, then you need to look at that. Hopefully you already had some KPIs set. So you had those things that, when we, this is how we want to sort of, judge this event as far as, was it a success for us? And you can look at those KPIs. Did we reach them? If we didn't reach them, why? Was it a function of the event? Not, she's just doing a steady stream of like, here's this toy, here's that toy. She's loving it.
And she's a she, right? So she's like, I would like a moment to
Can
shine. Look at my baby. Look at my baby that she stole from her human sister. And yeah, Coda, let's lay down.
So was it something we didn't do, or somehow that we didn't fulfill our part of working the event, or was it something the event didn't do? And that's what tells you if, we do this event again next year, but we tweak our plan a little bit and we tweak our plan going forward for similar events. Or was it just, hey, this was not all it's cracked up to be, and unless they give us some serious reasons why it's going to be better next year, we're going to look for something else and spend our resources elsewhere.
Yeah. I really like that you started with, okay, was the event successful for the event planners, right? Did it pull the traffic that they were intending, or that what you said, like essentially promised, right? Or kind of marketed to you so that you were there and you invested in resources and time and energy and all of the things. So I love that you started there, and it wasn't just about how did you capture leads at the event or how did you foster those, because really a lot of that pre-work is up to the event planners. And if they're not bringing in the foot traffic, you can't possibly meet the KPIs that you set. So I love that you started. Okay. So next question, we're going to switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about follow-up, right? So let's say the event was incredible. All of the, attendees that they said that were going to be there were there. Perfect. So now what do we do, right? So you've gathered contact information. How soon after an event should you follow up with prospects? And what are some of your favorite ways to do that?
So I know we kind of talked a little bit about an earlier video about having this plan in place way ahead of time. I don't think you can follow up too early. I have had people reach out to me day of, night after, next morning after an event. And I've never, it's not like online dating. You don't go, whoa, slow it down, back off a little bit there, needy, right? It's not that. If that email that goes out is well thought out and you're sending it and saying it was fabulous connecting with you, we just wanted to thank you for stopping by, and kind of give them an idea of what's coming. So you can kind of say, listen, thanks for stopping by. It was great seeing you today. We hope you enjoyed the event. You're going to hear back from us again on Wednesday when we're going to send this, and let them know it's coming, giving them that expectation. Now they know. So now Wednesday, when you send that next follow-up, and maybe it's got something that you're asking them to do, it's not hitting them out of the blue.
I like that. Yeah. I like that.
If it's, can you fill this out, or can you give us some feedback, or they know that that's coming because you've already set that cadence.
Well, and they heard it right from you. So that's that personal touch versus sometimes if you just send it slightly unsolicited, they're going to be more like, oh, that feels like sales. And, when something feels like sales, most people don't love that. But when it feels like relationship building, or that you're delivering on a promise that you made to them, right? Saying you're going to do something that you actually do, especially in our field, right? When you do business to business stuff, if you don't do the follow-up, people kind of put that in the back of their minds. Oh, they didn't say what they were going to say. So how can I trust them with my business? And so I love teasing that a little bit. And actually we have an event next week. So I'm going to be teasing that next week.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. Any other strategies that you like to use when following up?
So, we all end up, events can get, if they're successful, and hopefully they are, they can get busy. Sometimes things don't go to plan, right? I remember a number of years ago, it was one of the first events that we did. We had such an awesome plan going in. It was with, then it was still the Maryville Chamber. We had, I think it was actually that long ago. I don't think it was Crossroads yet. Anyway, it was, we had our plan in place. We knew what we were going to do. And we did none of it. We had things that people were supposed to fill out, games that people were supposed to play, ways that we were going to sit people down and present to people, and all of this other stuff. And the event took us by surprise. It was super busy. None of that happened.
It was super, like, the foot traffic happened more so than what we anticipated.
Yeah, exactly. And we knew a lot of people, so there are all kinds of side conversations, and it just went crazy. But again, sometimes that happens, and it's not always a bad thing. Like, obviously we're talking to people about planning, so we want them to plan. But sometimes things don't go to plan. So I always make sure that I have a dedicated place that if I collect a business card from someone that is a really good lead that I'm excited about and want to follow up on, those business cards go somewhere else. Those are in addition to, or those, if we're having them fill out a card or what have you, those get pulled aside. And that specific pile gets a second level of care, and gets a personal email or call, and reach out to them, and again, be tactful and not salesy about it, but reach out to them. And it's always, I don't know that we've talked about this on any of these videos so far, but sales is, at the end of the day, sales is about service, and it's about, I'm not going to sell you something. Some people will. I don't want to sell you something you don't need. I don't want to sell
Yeah.
you something that isn't going to help you out in your endeavors. So I'm there to be of service and to give you good ideas and connect you with the right products to achieve your goals. Right. So when I reach out to somebody on that, that's part of what I'm doing as well as qualifying. Like, I believe I can be of
Yeah.
service. Can we verify that? Can I really? Is there a way for me to help you and help your company and help you grow in your position? So you can reach out on that level, and it's not going to feel salesy because it's not. And if they come back,
No.
you have to respect that answer. If they come back with something and you realize you're not a great fit for them for some reason, don't try to be that square peg jamming yourself, through an ill fit, through a round hole. You're
Yeah.
not for them. And it's okay to say, listen, I'm super excited to meet you. And if ever in the future I can help,
Yep.
I will be right here ready. But it sounds like you've got this covered right now. And so it's all about being of service, and you want to deliver your message that way.
And I really like that we focus on that specifically at Generate, but then also preach that to our clients and prospective customers as well, because the longer you spend trying to cultivate a sale or just cultivate a lead with someone who's not qualified, and that doesn't mean not qualified in their role, it means qualified to do business, right? That
Right.
they are ready and willing to buy, or they have something coming up, because it wastes so much time and energy for both parties that could
Right.
be taking away from the right prospect, the right lead, and working smarter, not harder, right? That's a
Yeah.
tried and true. That's a tried and true approach.
It
So,
is. And we tend to take it a step further, and we know who we can
yep,
help the most. We know who
yep,
we have, and it works both ways. It just so happens that the people that we can generally help the most are also the clients who we are the most passionate about working with, and who are then the most passionate about working with us. And it becomes a really great partnership, right?
mhm,
So ideally, that's what you're looking for. And that can help you with event planning as well and follow up as well. You know
yeah,
who those people are that you want to do business with. Don't ignore everybody else, but focus
yeah,
primarily on those individuals.
yep,
That's who you want. One or two great leads from an event, is way more value to most businesses
yep,
than 100 leads, most of which are going to fall through or take up more
yeah,
of your time than their value could even be. So
yeah,
know who you're looking for and follow up with them first. And I'm
yep.
going to use the word aggressively and most aggressively, but I don't mean aggressive. I mean, with the enthusiasm and the passion that you bring
Yep.
to that.
The personal touch.
Yeah.
So, speaking of personal touch, partnership, all of that, final question for you today.
Yep. All right, I'm ready.
So, we've qualified leads, right? At this point in the event process, we've taken a look to see if the event was what we determined as successful, and that could look like a lot of different things. But how do you keep building on the relationship after the event? So, say you've already had an initial meeting or initial phone call, you know that they're qualified. What do you do now? How do you foster that relationship? Into something, long term, or start building the foundation for that? And that's a super loaded question
It is
that
a
you're
really
just
loaded
naturally
question.
good at. So like reach into your bag of tricks and what's a nugget you could give to viewers about how do you build the relationship, not just qualifying them?
So, okay, well, thank you for saying that I'm good at that. However,
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit because there's a part of that I'm not good at, right?
Yeah.
So, I would also say know your team and know the
Mhm.
capable. If you're on a team versus like a solopreneur, right?
Yep.
Know your team. If you are all on your own, know yourself, know what you're good at.
Yeah.
Um, I am not great at the long game. So I love those people I make an immediate connection with, and we are in sync or some other boy band, and it's
That's
awesome. And,
funny.
and we get along really well, and we can move quickly
Mhm.
into the actual sales cycle. So that's great, right? But those leads that require a longer sales cycle, most sales, I think it's 8 to 10 touches
Yep.
is still the number, and it's been that number for years. It's 8 to 10 touches to build that. Um, you're gonna have people who they actually do want to do business with you. They weren't They weren't just saying that because you were in front of them and they were embarrassed. They want to do business. But you have to remember as a salesperson, or an outreach coordinator or whatever your role may be,
Yeah.
that that person, you're focused very much on them. They have a million other things they're focused on. You are not their top priority. And you've got to wait till you can find that moment in their schedule where it's going to be good. So just the fact that they didn't get back to you immediately or you didn't hear from them right away is not rejection. It could just be they're busy. It could be your email bounced. It could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
So don't give up too easily, but just be respectful in the way that you're reaching out, right? So some of that is going to be it's a hit right away. We're buddies right away. Um, Ask those questions that you know work in your industry. So our favorite is always, what do you have coming up next? What's the next project you're most excited about? And then we follow up with, like specific ideas for promos and ways that they can use it. And we just do our very, very best to demonstrate how we're unique in our space and what we bring to the table, how we can help, how we can be of service. You need to know that about yourself in your space. And you need to know, are you good at that long game? Or is someone else in your organization better at that long game? And we talk about putting people in sales funnels, right? So this is stuff that's really good. They have a need. We know we fit. So we want to put this in this bucket and follow through in this way. Then there's other people who maybe they don't have a need right now, but we believe that we could be of service to them later, and they've indicated that we could be. So we put them in this middle bucket. Maybe that's just our social media and our
Yep.
emails, and it's the simple stuff, and we maybe follow up with them on a different cadence. So maybe these folks are once a month, these folks are once a quarter,
Yep.
right? And then there's those people that you put on like a super drip campaign where it's like, we've had countless, what word do I want to use? We've had countless times in our history where somebody that we met and really hit it off with didn't have a need for us at that moment or in that role. But later on, they had a different role and they come back and they say, hey, I remember you from this.
Yep.
I met someone last night at the event that pulled one of our power banks out of her purse and went, I have you right here.
That's so awesome. I love that. Yeah.
I used it. I said, that's great. I love that power bank. We have new ones coming out with our new, even more awesome branding. So you now need to be part of our new rewards program so you can earn
Yep.
another one of those. And, so I just used it as a way to kind of keep the conversation going. But
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
yeah. So you don't know when those folks are going to come back into your life and possibly in a different role where they maybe couldn't be a partner with you here, but now in their new role they can be. So, that's why sales is always a personal relationship, right? It's building that relationship, and they may never get in a role where they can use you, but they sure might know somebody who can. So, and that's actually another little part of the follow-up too, is make sure you've got the right person in the organization.
Yep. And that's with your phone call, your email, what have you. I always like to end my emails or start my emails like, hey, it was so great to meet you. Please, feel free to stop me if you are not the person, right? And if
Right,
you're willing and able
right.
to direct me to who is, I'd absolutely love that and appreciate that.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, here's some ideas or whatever, our little moment is with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Because you could just be marketing to the wrong person, but there's someone
Right.
internally, and sometimes you just have to ask. You just have to ask for that. We were in a couple of meetings yesterday, and in one of those meetings, I got 2 leads in 4 minutes because I
Yeah.
asked the right question, and that was
Right.
I really appreciate those moments because it makes our jobs a lot easier. So
Yeah. And I mean, any job that you're in right now, we're in this weird place in the history, right? Where we can be so separate. We can do Zoom meetings and, we don't have to be in person and face to face all the time. And for a long time you heard, oh, we're gonna all be like robots and nobody's gonna connect. But what we've seen over the years, from a sociology sort of a standpoint, is that it's actually making people want to connect differently because we can be so separate and because things are, everyone has like their Facebook life and their LinkedIn life and then their real life, right? And so you need to forge relationships outside of all of that. And that's what a lot of this is about. So yeah, just remember that at the end of the day, it's not about making that sales, it's about connecting. And that's what you're there to do. You're there to connect. The sales will come. If you're connecting with people on a personal level and you're connecting with people on a service level, how can I help? How can we partner?
Yep.
Whether it's them or whether it's somebody they end up connecting you with or a project you work on together that brings bigger things, whatever that looks like, it's all about relationship building, connecting, and being of service. And if you look at it from that standpoint, you're going to be successful.
Well, it's also going to make the work not feel so hard because your
Yeah,
intent is the relationship, not the sale. Because
right.
like what you said, you put the relationship first, the sale's going to come, or whatever it is that you would like them to do. It may just not be right now, but it might be. You
But
don't
it
know.
might be. You never
But it
know.
might
And
be. Yeah.
yeah, it could be. And
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where, when you approach sales as, and so many people do, when you approach sales as um, an opportunity to be rejected, that I could be rejected.
Yeah.
You go into it with the wrong energy to begin with. And
Yeah.
you're building a relationship, you're seeing if you can be helpful. And if you can't, that's not rejection. It's just not the right fit, right? It's
Right.
just not,
Yeah.
gonna work. Again, it's a lot like online dating. So it's it's just not gonna work in that case. And so, um, see if there's a place you can help each other out or connect each other. And again, it's a two-way street. And
Yeah.
if not, then it's naturally gonna move along, right?
Yeah.
It's not
Absolutely.
you're not going to keep connecting unless you just make a friend, which is awesome. But that's outside of the scope of this video, so we don't need
Yeah.
to worry about that. Make a lot of friends, but also make some good connections.
So, like how we started at the beginning of the video, this was our final episode in our event marketing series. But one thing that I took away from this episode that maybe I wasn't intending to take away from this episode is kind of the conclusion about why event marketing can be so impactful. So, you had made the comment about, you know, in sales, and sales could be donor relations, it could be getting
Right.
people to sign up for a program, it could be selling insurance. It doesn't matter what it is that you're selling. Everyone's selling something, right? Regardless of the industry that you're in. But event marketing provides you an opportunity to get to those 8 to 10 touches
Yep.
faster, because you
Yep.
can have 3 or 4 touches just from an event. And
Yep.
yes, you're putting a lot of time and energy and all of those things into the event. But if you plan it right, the post event, preparation, the day of planning, the day of like show, right? What are you doing, and how did you execute it? And then kind of evaluating and creating a follow-up plan after the event is concluded, you can get to that end of that sales cycle so much
So
faster.
much faster. Yeah.
Even though you had to put a lot of preparation into it.
Yeah.
Right. And it
Absolutely. Yep.
warms up a cold lead. And that's what I like about event marketing. So yeah.
Yeah, cold leads are never fun. And so events
No.
are a great way. And they can be community driven.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that you can do at events. And the
Yep.
the one thing we didn't talk about in this series at all, actually two things actually that I want to just make sure we bring up
Okay.
briefly.
I'm
I
writing
know,
it down. Yeah, for maybe
right?
future episodes, or what nuggets you got for the viewers,
So
for the viewers.
we've talked mostly in this series about um, attending and working someone else's event. What we
Yeah.
didn't touch on was hosting your own event as a way to connect. That's
like
something
that.
that we've done fairly frequently and we absolutely love doing. That's a really good way to get the exact people you want in the room,
It is.
to present your knowledge and present yourself as the expert, and make sure that you're sharing that knowledge you're giving away for free to the people attending your knowledge, and you have an opportunity to demonstrate how and why you're good at what you do. You can, and this kind of will segue into my second point, you can often find a partner who presents to the same audience that you do, but is is selling a different product
Yep.
and bring that partner in so that you're sharing the cost, you're sharing, helping each other because they have certain contacts you don't have,
Yeah.
and bringing those people together. So there's a lot of ways to do that. The other thought on that, again, that leads us to one of my favorite things, which is piggyback marketing. And we used to have a couple guys who used to attend some of the events that we did that would sneak in their adult beverages, and they had a drinking game to take a sip every time I said piggyback marketing, because it's one of my favorite topics.
I didn't
But
know that was ever
it's a
happening.
thing.
That's
You can
funny.
probably guess who it was. But
Yeah, I
so
have a
we
couple names in my head.
and I missed them both, so we need to touch base
Yeah.
with them. Anyway, it is a now everybody out there is going, who was it? We want to know. So, that the idea of not only piggybacking when it comes to partnerships in hosting or working events, but also piggyback marketing on your own things. And when you're doing this event, you should know what's next and have that ready to also promote at your table. So if you're participating in an event this week and then 2 weeks later you have something else, maybe it's health screenings or an event at your place or a grand opening or whatever that looks like for your business, be promoting that to anyone who's a good candidate for that at this event. You have kind of a captive audience, right? So use this to promote that. If you have a brick and mortar, use this place that you're at now to send people there, and be specific. So one of my good friends owns a coffee shop. If she's working an event, she should be handing out postcards or coupons that are only good for these particular times. And maybe it's a real slow time in her day, or maybe it's, just for a new product that she's trying to get people to try, or whatever that looks like. So be using this to drive people there.
Yep. I love it. Well, now we're going to have to do a episode on piggyback marketing.
Well, of course.
Right?
Yeah,
Right?
you're going to have to. There's so many ways to do it, though. That's why I love it so much.
I do too. I do too. Okay, so a couple reminders: like, comment, share your ideas with us, reach out, request ideas from us. And if you haven't already, go back and watch the first 3 episodes. What's great about these recordings is they're going to live forever. So when your next event is coming up, feel free to tune back in to get some ideas, and also download some of our freebies that we attach to a couple of the episodes. But Lisa, if you want to sign us out of our final event marketing series episode.
Well, I mean, for anyone who stuck with us all the way through, thank you. This was so much fun, and we've enjoyed doing it. We are so looking forward to all of the other things that we have coming. So make sure that you're subscribed to our YouTube and following us on all the things that Tristan knows so much better than I do, which is why she's the head of this. All the things. And of course, if you have any upcoming events or anything going on and you would like us to fine tune some of these ideas, help you brainstorm, help you come up with them, we are an email, a phone call, or a chat away. So just hit us up. We'd be delighted to help.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.